So it's Monday. I normally don't film on Mondays, but today I've got something a little bit special that I am getting ready to do. I am going to be doing a talk on collaborations with the amazing vintage sellers community, and it's a bunch of amazing vintage and pre-loved like sellers of clothing, decor, gifts. I love it. I'm so excited to be part of this group and be talking about one of my favorite subjects, collaboration. Now, before I go into kind of what I'm going to be talking about with them, I have to say my outfit today, I got this beaded caftan off of eBay. And it's because I kind of feel like I'm in my Palm Springs retiree clothing phase. I like loose, I like colorful, anything Elizabeth Taylor would have worn in the later part of her life. I'm kind of feeling it. So that's what I'm wearing today. And then I'm wearing leggings because you can't see from the bottom down. But I'm really excited to be talking about collaborations. Lately, I've been doing a lot, especially with the pool shoot, and it's going to be interesting to talk about kind of the good, the bad, the ugly of what I've experienced in these shoots and just have good conversations with other amazing vintage shop and resellers. I'm excited, so I'm going to get ready for that. We're going to hop on Zoom in a little less than an hour. And in the meantime, I'm going to try to get some videos edited and then just take the rest of the day to kind of relax and recharge my batteries after a really, really long week. So let's get started. So I've got my notes all ready. I like writing notes on these outlines, not necessarily because I look at them as I'm talking, but it gets the ideas fresh in my head. So we've got those, set them aside, and now working on the next video in the meantime. All right, so I got done with that talk with the vintage sellers community and it went so well. I'll try to put a little clip in of the video once it's uploaded, but I had so much fun and I just, I love that community so much. Sorry if you hear the sound effects. If you're a vintage seller out there and you are looking for a really great space to join, then here, let me pull it up so you can see it for yourself. So this is the main page for the general public. It's called The Vintage Seeker. It's an online publication put on by the amazing Christina. And when I was looking for a community to be part of, this is the site I found, and it has so many great resources. I love it. I've learned a lot reading the articles in here. I've written an article for the publication myself about vintage and size inclusivity. I'll try to remember to put the link below. So if you're a vintage lover, secondhand, pre-loved, you're gonna love this site. But if you're a vintage seller or a business, you can join the vintage sellers community. I absolutely love it. I think I've been a part of it for, has it been over a year now? And I cannot tell you the things I've learned and the confidence I've gotten being able to talk to other sellers who have been through things I've been through. I cannot say enough good things. This isn't sponsored or anything. I just absolutely love this community and I'm so thankful that I found it and it's helped me so much. So that's been that this morning. But now I had completely forgotten that there is another Julian's auction going on today, and it's a smaller one. There are a few pieces that I've had my eye on that if they go for cheap enough, I'll bid on it. These are, it's like a no reserve. So whatever they sell for, they sell for. They don't have to hit a certain number amount. And I'll see. There are several that if the prices are low enough, I'm gonna bid on it. There have some more Josephs of Hollywood pieces on here that I've been wanting to get one, but there are a lot of collectors out there that are very serious about their Josephs of Hollywood. But we'll see. I thought it's gonna be a short auction. It's 1:12 right now. I'm just eating lunch. continuing to edit the video going out tomorrow that you'll probably have already watched at this point. My days get mixed up, but we'll see if I can win anything. If not, that's fine too. We'll just see. I have time, so why not? And sometimes it's just fun to see what these pieces sell for. All right, so it's a little dim in here, but the pieces that I wanted from this current Julian's auction, I won. There were several pieces I had my eye on, but I had to just bite my tongue and not bid on them because this is the lot that I really wanted, and I will tell you why. But then came this lot in the auction, and it came from the estate of Joanne Carson. It is a blouse and zebra print skirt set by the designer David Hayes. Now this lot came with his original sketch of the outfit, as well as some fabric swatches, and also included 6 blazers of hers that she owned from David Hayes. Now, the reason why I really wanted this is because it fits in with some current pop culture that some of you may have paid attention to. So this lot came from the estate of Joanne Carson, who, if you don't recognize this fella, is the legendary late night host of The Tonight Show, Johnny Carson. Now, growing up, I remember my grandparents just being obsessed with Johnny Carson. They had all of the VHS tapes of his best interviews and best moments, and I grew up watching that. If you grew up in the 90s, you maybe saw the infomercials selling a lot of those VHS tapes. And I remember as a kid hearing him talk about his ex-wives and how much they cost him, and always just being curious about these exes he was talking about. Now, if you watch FX and are a fan of Ryan Murphy, you may have heard of the recent season of Feud, and that focused on Truman Capote versus the Swans. Now, if you're not familiar with the story, online can give you a better synopsis, but Truman Capote famously wrote In Cold Blood, Breakfast at Tiffany's, and this detailed the relationships he'd had with some of the New York and Hollywood elite, people that he got a lot of his gossipy stories from. And in the show, Joanne Carson, her life is featured, and she is played by the amazing Molly Ringwald. Grew up just being obsessed with Pretty in Pink. And I thought this was a really interesting talking point because I didn't know much about Joanne Carson until I started reading up on her when the series came out. And she was the one that fascinated me the most because Truman Capote went to live with her in, oh gosh, was she in Beverly Hills? Let me check. So I found this really good article on Town and Country magazine explaining who Joanne Carson was. And so she was Johnny Carson's second wife, married from 1963 to 1972. Now, they divorced in 1970, officially in 1972, and the article explains that it was said that they had a very tumultuous relationship with a lot of arguments and accusations. And it goes on to say that she was awarded a settlement of nearly $500,000, as well as an annual $100,000 in alimony. And she also received, quote, a pretty nice little art collection. It said that following her divorce, Joanne became very close with Truman Capote. It says that they were introduced at a dinner party thrown by publishing legend Bennett Cerf. I think that's how you pronounce it. And he was also a frequent guest on The Tonight Show. It's interesting because you do see this play out in the show, where you see him going to California, being with her. I think one of them was for Thanksgiving. There was a scene involved in Thanksgiving, if I remember correctly. How this ties back into the show is it's said that Capote spent much of his time writing his work in Joanne's Bel Air home, and it was there that he wrote Answered Prayers, which is the story that Feud focuses on, where he creates characters but uses their real life drama and marital problems and pain in his stories. And as you'll see in the show, it's not very hard to distinguish that it was a work of fiction character-wise, but the stories were very much real. Where it gets interesting is that Capote did die in her Bel Air home. It said that he booked a one-way ticket to LA in 1984, met up with her, and if we scroll down a little bit, he passed away 2 days later at her home at the age of 59 of liver disease complicated by phlebitis and multiple drug intoxication. So the interesting part of it is that if you read on, he was cremated and his ashes were reportedly divided between Joanne and novelist Jack Dunphy. Capote also left a lot of his belongings to Joanne, who later auctioned off over 330 of his items at Bonham's in New York in 2006. It's a pretty sordid story, so I'm just going to read it out so I don't mix anything up. But she had half of his ashes, and she kept them in an urn in the bedroom where he died. Carson said that she was following Capote's instructions, splitting his ashes into 2 urns, giving one to his partner, Jack Dunphy. She neglected to mention she kept an urn herself, and when Dunphy found out, he never spoke to her again. I can understand that. Carson later claimed that someone stole his ashes during a Halloween party at her house, and she supposedly recovered them, allegedly finding them in her garden hose. Very, very cringy. And had half of them interred next to Marilyn Monroe in Westwood Village Memorial Park. But this was the part that was really interesting. It said that the remaining quarter of Capote's ashes stayed with her until her death in 2015, after which they were auctioned off for $45,000. And I believe they were auctioned off through Julian's Auctions. Now, I thought that was really interesting. They said that the lot his ashes were in also was a lot that included a lock of Marilyn Monroe's hair, a batch of Steve Jobs' neckties, and a shirt from the Dukes of Hazzard. So it became a memorabilia piece. So I thought this outfit had a very interesting story. She was a very interesting woman. It's interesting to dive into what kind of person she is. You know, upon reading it, do you see her as being an opportunist? I read that her friends said that she was extremely insecure and she was very desirous of having Truman Capote as a friend and wanted to surround herself with important people. And watching the show and Molly Ringwald's depiction of it, I could definitely sense that's how they were portraying her. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I have to read up more about her, but it's an interesting lot to have in our archive. I love conversations and how complex people are and the stories surrounding them and their clothing and what comes with it. So once I get those in, I will get them in our new display cabinet and do a proper video on it. But just wanted to share that exciting little thing. And I got what I wanted. And I got it for a decent price, I think. And it's a cool little story to have under my belt. Okay, it's Tuesday morning. I have been so scatterbrained this morning. I had to bring in a bunch of new hangers to hang up all of these pieces and also some vintage lingerie I have coming in. But I was really excited. Sorry, I'm out of breath. I've been running back and forth to the parking lot this morning already. But I got the book of all the photographs, or a good majority of the photographs from the pool house shoot. And I'm so excited to open it up. Now, it was already an interesting start to the morning because before I open, I don't have any music on and I can hear things that go on out in front of the shop on the street. And it was interesting that I had a couple, probably in their, early mid-40s, and they must have been wanting to come into the shop. But at the time it was 10 o'clock. I don't open until 11. And they were not happy that I wasn't open yet and started to make fun of my shop hours, which is a very unusual thing to do. They started talking about my shop hours and laughing. And it was in a way that, oh gosh, how can I imitate it? 11 to 6. Wow. Like congratulations, you're open for what they probably thought was like a short period of time. And that's fair. I get it. I know what it's like to go to a store and it not be open yet and being bummed, especially if you don't go on Google and check the hours before you go. But this is the thing. And I know if you're a small business owner and you're watching this, you get it. But I'm a small business owner. My only employee is me. I work 6 days a week. Usually my days off are done or spent really doing things I couldn't get done at the shop during the week. For better or worse, I'm on 24/7. And I have had a decent amount of people make comments about my hours and how I'm never open or I'm open weird hours. And it's because I hate to break it to all of those people out there, but I am but just a human. I'm not Superwoman. I'm not Wonder Woman. I do have needs like sleeping, being at home to take care of my cats and be with my partner. I'm not a machine. So yeah, my hours, may not be ideal for everybody. I get it. That's why I'm open Sundays, trying to hit people where they're at. They're off Sundays, off Saturdays, closed Mondays, obviously. But it is really interesting how in the service industry, especially when you have a small shop, people expect you to be on all the time, to be open all the time. And if you're not open until 8 o'clock at night, then you're never open. Or you're not open at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're never open. So it was a lovely way to start the morning. But luckily, they didn't do it in the shop, so I didn't have to defend myself or explain to them why my hours are how they are. So happy Tuesday to ya. But I'm still very excited to open up this box, and that lovely couple cannot ruin that for me. Yay! Can't wait to see it. I love how professionally wrapped it is. Oh, I feel like it's Christmas. And here it is. Now, I really love this olivey green color. And you probably can't see it as well on camera. There we go. Got this beautiful rose gold metallic lookbook print. That's all I could write. You didn't get a lot of letters, but I thought this, I think, sums it up. Let's crack it open. See, I'm so excited I can't even talk. Ugh. Can you believe it? How freaking cool is this? Ugh. I know I can't even talk looking through this. I'm just in awe. These are exactly what they're meant to be. On pages to be admired and seen by everyone. Yes, I am going to show you the whole book because I know I would want to see the whole book. I love seeing my beautiful friends and what we've all created and Shannon's amazing photographs. Now Miss Cora here, I love her to death, like dearly and to death. I worked with her when I did freight at Victoria's Secret, and she was one of the nicest people to me, always laughing, always just an amazing person. And to see her in her goddess state, like I see her all the time, it's really magical. Now, isn't this photo, like, this looks like it should be in every coffee book, on everyone's coffee table. Like, talk about fashion. Ugh. I'm just so obsessed. Oh, I love it. Honestly, I'm not even going to talk. I might just show you and play music over this because I kind of need a little bit of time to gather my words. I know it's not a very long book. I get it. These books are not cheap. So that was what fit my budget, but I'm so excited, and I'm going to have it on top of one of the archive cabinets for people to look at themselves. I'm so proud of this. It's the physical representation of all the hard work we've done. And if I can save up more money, I want to get another one. All right, so my amazing mail lady brought this in, and it's very heavy, and she's a tiny little thing, and she asked what the hell I had in here, and I told her it's 40 plus pieces of vintage lingerie. So I'm gonna start unpacking these and showing them all to you. I'm excited. I don't know if you can see, but our vintage lingerie rack to me has gotten bare. This is the least amount of vintage lingerie and sleepwear I've ever had. So to get this in is just what I needed. I already like what I see, and I haven't even actually opened anything up yet. I love when sellers, they really think about, you know, packaging everything up, protecting everything, because I know lately when I've been getting packages, it just happened a couple days ago, the boxes are torn into, the bags are ripped, they get rained on, the whole shebang. But when sellers package their pieces like this, there's nothing happening to them, and it's worth every penny for the shipping. But as you can see already, we have some, looks like dead stock unused slippers. All right, let's cut this saran wrap open. Now, I also just want to say that whether it's with vintage pieces or new pieces I get from for the shop, I always try to reuse packing materials as much as humanly possible. So things like the saran wrap, I can use it to wrap up other pieces I mail. I try as hard as I can not to waste anything I get, as long as it's in good sanitary condition. So I just had to hop on there and give that little tidbit. So I've barely broken into the lot, and already we have a lot of really beautiful nightwear pieces. Just gotta look and stare. Now, after I unpack all of these, I'm gonna get them hung up, and I'm gonna inspect them to see what pieces need mending, washing, spot treating, or what just need to be steamed and put on the floor. I know the seller said that some had flaws, like missing buttons and maybe a couple spots of mending, but all of them were clean and could just be put right out if wanted. But I like to just go over and double check just in case. Okay, it's later in the day. I have hung up all of the pieces, and I've started to photograph them and get them up on the website and on the floor. I've already put several pieces out there, a couple pieces up on the website right now, working on this 1970s, I call it golden sands, because it kind of just reminds me of golden beachy sand, nightgown from JCPenney. So I love these. It's really hard not to keep any of them for the archive, but the purpose was to sell lots of gorgeous, fluffy, vintage nightwear. I'm obsessed. And of course, I love this stripy vintage Fredericks of Hollywood sheer sleep cover-up. No, it's going to be hard to let some of these go. Really hard. But they don't do me any good sitting here. They need to go to a new home. All right, let's forge ahead. I've been trucking along on this, and it gets really hard when you get to a piece that you really just are struggling to let go of. And this 1990s black slip with this really high ruffle side slit by Lady Cameo Dallas. I'll try to remember to put in a photo of this piece on the mannequin, but I don't know, it doesn't look like much on the hanger, but it's really stunning. Just imagine throwing a belt on it and taking it for a night out. Either I price this high so no one buys it, or just keep it aside for a bit. It sucks loving clothing so much sometimes. All right, so it's Wednesday. I got in a little bit early this morning to start photographing pieces and steaming them, to keep getting them up on the website. I've been doing these little pieces, have a couple bits of mending to do, and I'm probably going to get this really cute, fluffy, cloud-like set photographed and put up today as well. I have some more shipments coming in of just regular clothing for the shop. I have a buying appointment on site tonight, so I probably won't have my camera. Today should be a pretty boring, straightforward day. We'll see. But I have a lot of things I want to start getting up online, and I'm feeling a little bit of the crunch to get it done. So I'm going to steamroll ahead with that today, and hopefully I might also get time to pick up and organize back here a bit too. It's still Wednesday, but before I leave for the day, I just wanted to show this really beautiful skirt and jacket set that I just got from one of my regular vendors. It's someone who I've bought a lot of really great vintage barware from, and she brought in this gorgeous 1960s Lillian woven wool suit. Now, she said that a friend of hers had this at, I can't remember how the story went, that her friend had bought a lake property and the woman that lived there left tons of totes of modern businessy type suits that she was just gonna throw away. And my regular spotted this and knew it was something that should be saved. Thankfully, she brought it into me. It's so gorgeous. It's a little dingy, so I'm bringing it in to the dry cleaners to see if they can spot treat it and bring it back to a little bit more of its luster. But such a great color. So, great way to end the night. We'll see you tomorrow. Good morning. It is Thursday. Just got into the shop after dropping off that gorgeous Lillian skirt set at the dry cleaners. And I did have a buying appointment last night that yielded some pretty cool things. A lot of them are at home drying, but I wanted to show some of the pieces that I was able to bring with. Now, I got all of these really beautiful silk neckties that I love. I love all of these patterns, the solids, gorgeous. But that's not what I got the most excited about. Got excited about these really beautiful silk sequined and beaded little capelets. These were all made in India, and the owner actually wore these when she tap danced, and these were some of her tap dancing costumes. Now, these appear to be from the 80s. I just think they're so gorgeous. Walking into the shop with them, I could see them sparkling and glittering. Absolutely love them. This vest for sure I'm going to put up for sale. These two I'm going to have to decide if I want to let go of both of these, as is usually the case. Now, I have had the intention today of getting some more pieces up online, but to be honest, I'm feeling like just coming back here and reorganizing everything. I'm just in that mood. It's a really gloomy, rainy day out, and those are usually the days I feel like getting things done. Now, I also have this batch of vintage lingerie I got in that needs to be cleaned, but after my it wasn't a last minute buying appointment yesterday, but the pieces needed a lot more laundering than I expected, so I might just wait to do these over the Labor Day weekend. Now, this site, I don't have this happen super often, but the house hasn't been lived in for a few years. The owner has been slowly trying to move all of her stuff out by herself, and the house definitely, I'm glad she's not living there anymore. I am very allergic to dust and mold, and I can tell you that after leaving the house, I wasn't feeling that great. So a lot of the pieces needed to be given a very good deep cleaning, and they're almost back to new. These pieces luckily were kept out of a lot of the dustier parts of the space, but I'm still going to just refresh it a bit, go around and spot clean it. It's made of silk, so I have to be very, very careful. But one of the sadnesses, and this you see a lot happening when you go to buying appointments, especially in houses that are maybe in not the best or safest conditions, is you find pieces that you really want, but you're just not the proper place for it. There's a gorgeous vintage floor length. I'm pretty sure I don't know if it was rabbit fur or what fur it was, but it was a long, beautiful coat, leather belt, gorgeous. But as I started looking and inspecting it, I saw what appeared to be mouse droppings. And knowing that here where I live, we don't have dry cleaners that can care for vintage fur, and it would cost about $75 to $100 just to get it shipped to a place that would. So I had to leave it behind, but she's not throwing anything. And this is why I felt comfortable leaving it. She is not one that believes in throwing things away and trying to find a good home for them, which I'm absolutely certain she will. Or if I know someone who really wants vintage fur and they don't mind putting that investment into it, then I'm going to send them her way. So I know they're not going to be put in the garbage. It's just more work and more money than I can put into it right now. But I love that she wants everything to be given a good home. And that's always what I preach. Good morning. It is finally Friday, and I forgot to record anything this morning. I was bringing a bunch of clothing in that I just laundered. And what I've been doing is getting everything up on the website. I got this really killer Fredericks of Hollywood tunic, and I wanted to connect it to the archival catalogs I have in of theirs. So I'll zoom in a little bit. So I'm just getting all of that done, trying to get little projects done before the Labor Day weekend. It's hard to know what it's going to be like this weekend. It could be dead. People could be out of town going to the lakes. It could be busy. I just don't know. So I'm trying to get everything done that I can, just so I can have as restful a weekend as possible. Also been packing up orders. This one is that 1920s dress that I got in last week. It is packed up and off to its new home, which I'm very excited. I just put them up on eBay yesterday. So hopefully it's found its forever home now. A lot of the pieces I already steamed and put up front, but these are some that I haven't had a chance to steam yet. This really beautiful, I believe it's 80s scalloped collar long wool maxi dress. It's going to be really great for the winter. And then this really nice 90s acrylic knit long cardigan sweater. It was really tempting to not keep this myself. Oh, that's where the other piece of Velcro went for that tap costume. And then this really beautiful faux fur cape with lining. The original owner made this, again, as part of her tap costume. So those will get put out eventually. It's still a little warm here in Fargo, so I'm not quite ready to put them out yet. But they're here, and they're almost ready to go. It's really nice that a lot of the vintage lingerie I just got in an auction yeah, that I got in a recent auction has been starting to sell. I think this red one is the fourth piece I've sold from that lot so far. This one actually was bought by my lovely sister, who's gonna look stunning in it. I love vintage lingerie, and I get excited when other people love it too. But this bodysuit, I believe it's 90s, but it's from Shirley of Hollywood, and it has a really cool tiger face in it, if you can kind of see. Halter top, it's a G-string, and I was gonna sell it, but I think it would look really cute in a photo shoot. I have a problem, I know, but I'm using these pieces, so it's okay, right? Still debating on this black ruffle slip with the high slit. I really love it. Again, I'm trying so hard not to keep these pieces, but it's just, I'm having a very hard time. So I had to just set it aside. You know, I had to set it aside. I've got plenty to put out. I have time to think about it. This is always the danger of selling vintage and selling things you love, is you always want to keep them. But my next goal today is to start packing up all of the pieces that do need to be laundered and start bringing those home and getting them spot treated. A lot of them should be pretty straightforward. They're all nylon. This quilted piece I have to take a little look at, but the other ones I'm hoping will be a breeze. But those could be my famous last words. All right, so I just posted this killer 1990s Fredericks of Hollywood tunic top, and I attached a couple pictures from the 1960s catalogs that we have up in our archive website. Oh, I'm obsessed with those. But this one already sold. So we're just going down the line here. I freaking love vintage lingerie, obviously, and I'm working on doing a third installment of my vintage lingerie collection. I'm hoping to get that started this weekend. It's obviously been a whirlwind lately, but I've had really good responses to it so far, other than some people wanting me to model the clothing and the lingerie, which that costs extra, my friends. So hopefully I'll get to do that this weekend. I keep, again, coming back here, and I want to like get my hands on stuff and organize, but I have a lot of hurdles in my way. But I think what I might start doing, working on the archive posts for these two pieces before I get the Joanne Carson auction lot in. So I think I will just keep doing some research on these, and maybe I'll end up getting those posts up today or this weekend. Stay tuned. Hello again. It is Sunday. I didn't film at all yesterday because it was a pretty busy day, but not eventful, which is great. It was kind of a busy, boring day. So Sunday, today, getting ready for Labor Day weekend. Well, I mean, it is Labor Day weekend. I get tomorrow off, but I always get tomorrow off. So I'm kind of just wanting to take it easy today. Wrap up editing this current video, organizing a little bit in back, and just kind of taking time to just relax as much as I can at work. I'm hoping on Monday I'm gonna try to film another lingerie video, get that going. But it's nice to kind of just end the week on a very chill, mellow note and not this frenetic energy feeling like I have to do something. So I thought, what better way to sign off today's episode than, woohoo, made it through the week without any, well, I'm gonna knock on wood right now. I say without anything crazy happening, but now I feel like I'm gonna jinx myself. But I'm happy to have weeks where it's a little boring. I can take that. That's okay with me. So I'm signing off here, and hopefully the next video you see will be the part 3 of the vintage lingerie collection video. Trying to think of more videos to do. So thank you, and I hope this video wasn't too boring. See you next week, y'all.